Hey everyone, welcome to ClearlyCast, the go-to show brought to you by the fastest growing Roblox and UGC marketplace. I'm your host Reese, and in today's episode it is the most different it's ever been. And to be honest, I'm starting to get, I say that a lot, with every episode. In today's episode, we're going behind the scenes of ClearlyDev and uncovering the operation of the ongoing development of our ClearlyDev version 2 platform. And not only are we going to be speaking about the prospects for our platform, but, I've been told, we're going to be getting some exclusive sneak peeks and insights into the development and the choices made for our extremely important 13,000 creators that collectively sell 25,000 products on our Roblox marketplace platform, and see what's going to be implemented for them in version 2. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to never miss out on a ClearlyCast episode, and without further ado, let's get straight into uncovering the secrets of our new ClearlyDev version 2 platform. Okay everyone, welcome to ClearlyCast. Obviously this is a very different episode from usual. I know I say that every single episode, but this episode is truly different. We actually have a company ClearlyCast today. Not ever happened before. We have Lucas here from our team. He's a Chief Technology Officer, and he's here to speak about, the V2. Everyone's been on about V2. The team's been on about V2. Literally everyone. So it's great to obviously have you on, Lucas. I mean, this has been in planning for a bit of time. So obviously, a lot of people are going to be questioning who haven't come on the platform before. What is V2? People didn't even know there was a V2. I spoke to someone who didn't even realize there was a V2. For the people who aren't actually well informed, what is V2 and how much better is it going to be than V1?
That is a great question. Okay. So, as Reese said, I'm Lucas. You'll see me in the Discord every now and then as Lucas. I'm CTO at ClearlyDev. I do a bunch of technical work. I've been working on the V2 platform, so there's my side of the introduction. And yeah, great question. So, how is V2 different? In pretty much every single shape, way, and form it can be. So, V1 is a platform that I don't like to use the word created when we talk about V1, because it was built on the back of some plugins and libraries that enabled us to turn a tool that is not really designed for marketplaces into a marketplace. And that worked great for a while, but as we expand and get bigger, that has its own drawbacks, because the system we use is not designed for the purpose we're using it for. So it struggles to pull massive analytics, process data at high speeds, and that's why you see on V1 these load times that really can sometimes draw back from how cool our website actually is. And that's the main part here. So one of the biggest factors we've changed obviously is going to be loading speed, analytics, all these different things that our V1 system was incapable of doing. We've built a system, we've created a system that can do that. So in terms of how it's going to be different, I guess the first thing I can say is the UI, the user interface. It's a top-down remap of the entire website structure. So our landing page is different, our marketplace page is different, our vendor dashboard is different. It's a complete overhaul. So in terms of smoothness and compatibility, way better on mobile. If any of you have tried to use ClearlyDev V1 on mobile, you know it's difficult, and that's been one of the major drawbacks, something that we've been working really hard to try and rectify. So in terms of compatibility, site speed, site design, pretty much everything is different. That's exciting, and it's better because it's our own platform. It's something we can tailor to you guys instead of having to work around different functionalities that we need to try and either put on the back burner or make work. We can just design that from scratch now. That's a beautiful thing, and it's great for you guys as well.
I was looking at some of the screenshots, because obviously when we were there actually post games week, I got a little bit of a glimpse. I don't know if it's changed, but I saw it already in that form, and it was a complete remaster, like you said. Obviously the same, features are still there, the products are there, but the landing page, like you said, is completely different. And when we talk about trying to get people on the platform, that landing page is what is going to cost people. Should I join? Is this trustworthy? So yeah, having an amazing, sort of landing page is going to have that effect on people. Trust is a big thing when it comes to joining a platform and dedicating your time to a platform. And if, V2 allows that, that's going to be incredible.
Absolutely, and it's all about first impressions. That landing page is the first impression between the user and our platform, and we've managed with a not as great landing page as it could be, or not as great UI as it could be. We've managed to build a very solid user base on that, And so imagine the prospect we have when we actually have an inviting website that can onboard many, many, many different vendors. Think how the ClearlyDev ecosystem will grow just from that. And people often undermine or disregard something like that as, oh, well, it's not the important page. But as you mentioned, as I mentioned, first impressions when a potential buyer or seller comes onto the website, it's so important.
I could totally agree. I mean, one of the main, features for sellers itself is effectively managing, getting on the platform, getting their products up, and how fast they can actually do it. Obviously, there's going to be many changes put in place. I don't know how, Lucas is going to do this entire thing of content moderation. I myself don't know if content moderation's changed or if there's a new dashboard. Is there a new dashboard, Lucas? Has it changed anyway?
Yes. So even our lovely behind-the-scenes staff get a nice new overhaul of their systems. There's a lot of new functionality we're bringing into the management side for vendors. So in regards to like uploading products, we have a nice new swanky workflow where you can upload your files, select license types, which is brand new to V2. So you can sell personal licenses to players, or you can set stipulations that if a player earns X amount of money in a game that uses your product, you could require them to buy a professional license, which you could price differently. There are so many different methods you could use to sort of boost up your product, where before you kind of were limited in the options that you had for expressing that different like tiering system. And looking forward as well, I don't believe we'll be in launch, but the licensing system opens us up to be able to add reselling licenses and all these different things that before it was quite difficult to moderate, because you had to prove that you could resell or prove that so and so gave you this permission a year ago. You might have lost that, and with our system you just buy that resell, it's in your name, we don't need to prove it. So as I said, that might not be there on launch, but that's definitely something that we're going to be integrating as well.
Jeremy was on about this in the general chat when people were just questioning about it. And yeah, it is, as Jeremy describes it, it's sort of a grey area on our platform, for V1 at least. When you have resale licenses, I always say the best thing to do is have that formal documentation at least to prove it. Whereas, like you said, on the system, it's just going to be an ID or something like that to say, yes, you can sell this. So I know having that is going to make such a change to the way the industry operates on our platform. And I think it's going to just overall improve, product security, how people are going to view resells. I mean, if you have, a price for a resell and you want to price it higher, then, a normal license is going to be easy because people can just go and select it straight away. It's just so much easier than actually having to contact them individually, go through all that process, and then at the end having to prove it if you only have, Discord messages or something like that and not official documentation. So, sort of going on to the licensing type and the sort of security of the licenses, do you actually believe that having these type of license types is going to change the way the industry operates?
Yeah, I mean, license types aren't new. We've got other competitors who offer licenses, but when it comes to specific reselling and those extra things, and don't quote me on this, but I believe we're one of the first in the space to introduce that kind of idea where we would handle the sort of legal side of that. Wow, when I say the legal side, we're not going to hire you lawyers, guys, but we will verify that that person has a license in that name. But yeah, I think it will definitely change how especially our sellers price their products. I think it will bring the price down actually for personal users. I think for your everyday ClearlyDev user, I think you're going to start seeing cheaper products because vendors will be more inclined to price fairly to those personal users. And I think that is always a great step when we're able to make things more affordable for our customers. That's the first step in revitalizing this kind of like purchase flow where you've got consistency between buying, selling and reselling in the future, as I said. But on top of that, in terms of the industry itself, I think when we narrow it down to the sort of game space that we work in, so like Roblox, Armour, all these kind of things, I think this stuff happens already, but I don't think there's really any system in place to manage it or moderate it. It's kind of just he said, she said. So yeah, I do think that will make a big change, and I think it will be massively positive for the platform as well.
You talked about having cheaper prices, and I can only somewhat agree with you there. Obviously, people are going to charge what they believe is right and what they've researched is right. But having the differentiation between a personal, commercial, professional license, whatever you want to call it, is definitely going to be better. Number one, for the user, because, they can easily see which one they can have and then also the terms of it. But they can also be better for the actual creator too. They can easily differentiate and get more customers from just having these separate licenses. So there is another thing I want to ask for too. So at checkout, there's going to be a complete different UI.
Yes.
Is there? I mean, I'm just going off of what I'm thinking here.
Yes. So we've integrated Stripe elements into our checkout. I know, guys. I know that's not the word you wanted me to say. It's not PayPal yet. Hold me on yet, because we're working hard at it. PayPal has, unfortunately, certain rules and stipulations that make it difficult for marketplace sites like us to escrow money between the buyer and the seller, but we're in communication and we're trying to figure out a way that we can get this to work. I know a lot of people always say, but eBay do it. eBay is owned by PayPal. They don't count. But we are working to get that put in as soon as we can. But yeah, our checkout flow is Stripe and it's really clean. And I know you'll touch on withdrawals later, so I won't mention how the payout proceeds to the vendor yet, but that's exciting as well. The user interaction is a lot smoother, and we only really require the necessary information from you. We've also put down new systems for verifying fraudulent sales and this kind of stuff that was holding up transactions before. So it's sort of a more in-house flagging system as opposed to relying just on Stripe's sometimes quite inaccurate fraudulent score.
I mean, one thing I also wanted to mention is we're on the topic of Stripe. So when people obviously go to checkout and purchase a product, when they either choose to save their payment information or use their payment information, that is all going through Stripe, right?
Correct.
Right, okay. I just wanted to know because obviously Stripe has a very, it is one of the world leaders for payment processing.
Absolutely.
So having that security is definitely going to be, very nice for customers to see, especially if they've never bought, a site where you've never sort of bought from before. You want to be like, ugh. So yeah, having that Stripe integration, having that security for the customers is definitely going to help too.
I will put it out now. ClearlyDev does not hold your card details internally at all, ever. Stripe handles that and deals with that for us. We'll never see your card number, we'll never see anything like that. Security is very airtight with Stripe. As you said, it's one of the world leaders in this industry. Everyone, even Roblox themselves, use Stripe now. So the positive way forward.
We have a couple of features that I want to touch on too. So there's a couple of small features on the creator side. Now, I'm not quite sure if you can say anything about this, if it's really being touched upon at release, but we currently have the features for the community to follow their favorite creator. So, for example, I always say to leave a review if you've purchased from your favorite creator. I want to know if this following feature is going to be sort of similar to the YouTube notification system. So with YouTube, you get a notification anytime someone uploads. So with this following feature, do you think it's a possibility that there could be a thing that says every time, a product's uploaded from this vendor, it sends you an email or it sends you a notification?
Really good question. So that I can touch on this as well. So for release, there's been a number of things that we've had to look at functionality wise and see what is core to us and what is dead weight. Now, I wouldn't say followers is dead weight, but what I would say is that there are a number of more important features that we want to test the intensity of, test how our servers handle, and there's some features that we want to prioritize over that, so I can't say for sure that following will be there on launch. We might be able to run some internal tests and bump that up, so we'll see. But you'll know further down the line. And anyway, following will have a slightly different implementation. Now, one thing for us that was really important was returning control back to the user. So we don't want to force a bunch of notifications on you, but we do want to give you the option, if you would like to be notified through email or anything like that, then we are integrating that into our sort of user personal settings where they can decide how they get notified. And as well, we'll be looking to integrate Discord webhook notifications into our platform as well, so people can add their Discord webhooks and they can get notifications directly into their server, which will be obviously useful for vendors that have their own Discord communities and want automatic notifications when a product is posted or something like that. That would be that use case there. So that is how we're looking at approaching the sort of notification side of things. But yeah, in regards to following, it's right now something that kind of just, it's more exists, if that makes sense. Like that user follows that other user and it doesn't really mean anything else other than a number. And that's what we're looking to find functionality for, because we don't want to, as I said, V2 is largely about cutting down on the waste, and we don't want to implement a feature that has no purpose when we could be prioritizing ones that do. So besides notification, we really need to try and find a purpose to make following impactful on the site.
I mean, like you said, there is a number of features that people use, and following isn't really spoken about, so I completely get where, the development team and yourself are coming from with that. The community talks about, having the ability for the customer to interact with the creator, and I presume there's going to be numerous ways for this to happen in V2, whether it be through the messaging system or whether it be even through replies, really, or being able to reply to reviews. So the one thing I want to know, and especially the community want to know, will there be a function for reviews to be able to be replied by the creator instead of it just being a standalone review?
Absolutely. This is something that we wanted to address massively. Being able to independently select out reviews and make a specific request for that review. We are looking at inline replies to those reviews. So similar to, when you Google or like a restaurant or something like that, and you'll see some reviews and you'll see sometimes the owner of the restaurant has responded like, "How dare you give me a bad review?" A system similar to that. That's what we're looking for. But I'm really glad that you mentioned the messaging system, because obviously that is brand new. Right now we use an inquiry system which isn't exactly user-friendly either side. But our messaging system, created by the wonderful Collins, who I don't believe has spoken in the Discord yet, but he's one of our developers who does amazing work, incredible work. He created a chat system that allows the user and the vendor to kind of have seamless on-platform communication, as opposed to having to take it off the website, which is the main seller for us. And as well, with that comes moderation, and we give the abilities for moderators and admins to intercept these chats if needs be and act and moderate. So we're able to protect our users and protect our vendors a bit better than the system we currently had, where if the inquiry system, for example, was being abused, you'd have to take it through the support channels, which can take a few days to do anything about. So we wanted to scratch that and provide a system that not only protects our users, but just makes the whole experience so much easier.
I was sort of thinking about this myself. I still in ClearlyDev. I wanted to know if it was going to be better or not. There's been numerous times where myself has sort of sent a message and then hoped it sort of got there. So I'm super happy to hear and see that, this is being implemented, new systems and this new whole live chat system. I presume it's sort of like is going to happen, because this is definitely one of the big things people want. And coming from a seller point of view, to know that this is being implemented is just very, very happy. I don't know a word to describe, but it's just very, very happy to see that it's actually being worked upon and that it is being implemented, because it is one of the things people want. And especially talking about another thing people want is, I've seen this from actually quite a few of our bigger sellers who really just want to know how much they've earned, how much a product's earned. So I wanted to sort of know if there was going to be, right now in the dashboard, there's not a real place to see the overall revenue of a product. I wanted to know if this was going to be the case in V2, that there is at least either going to be a total store earnings, an annual earnings, monthly earnings, breakdown on how much you've earned within a specific time, and if you can actually see, how much revenue a product is made for your store.
Absolutely. So before I fully answer that, let's address why that doesn't exist on V1, because that's a big question we have, and obviously analytics is super important for a marketplace. I mentioned at the start of this podcast that V1 uses unorthodox methods of pulling information, pulling data that does not align with what we need it to do. And one of the drawbacks of that is that analytics on this current system is such an incredible amount of computing power that we would need probably NASA level computers to operate it at the scale that we want to. So when a user pulls, just even one user who has a lot of analytical data makes one pull, that could bring the whole site down for like 5 minutes or something ridiculous like that. So we had to make the difficult decision to cut that for user experience. But the main focus of V2 dashboard from the start has been getting that data back on there for you, and as much of it as we can. So we're looking at, I'm not going to mention what we use yet, but we are looking into third-party analytic providers to provide that seamless response, so it doesn't even end up querying our servers, which is what drew so much of that computational power. And in doing so, we would be able to give the user a much better rundown of everything they need with really no limitation. So yeah, in regards to specifying the specific product or anything like that, really, we can do. That's the main thing about having our own built platform, is that we can provide those things, we can provide those features for the customer, for the vendor, and that is what we've wanted to do, really.
It is good to see that. Having to sort of work out how much revenue you've earned from ClearlyDev right now, and I think a lot of the verified sellers, because I've heard them speak about it, can agree, it is a task, I will say. But having this knowledge that it's actually being implemented, and not only is it going to not really affect, or not even affect all the site speed, is obviously good to hear. I mean, a lot of sellers will be pleased to hear that, especially our verified ones and our top earning ones will be very glad to hear that. But since we're on the topic of money, I wanted to know something, because again, I believe, I usually refer to him as Mr. GPI.
Mr. GPI.
So, I mean, that's just how I refer to it. I wanted to actually know, I believe he was on about this, or at least someone was on about this. It was either him or Fletcher. Let's say you were to create a product, and you wanted to sort of put money into another person's account because they have a split revenue of that product. So, for instance, I wanted to make a product, and I wanted 80% to go to my store and 20% to go to another ClearlyDev registered account, and they can withdraw it whenever, because a lot of people hire developers or have developers work for their store, and they have to manually work out whether, this developer has 10% of this product's earnings. So I wanted to know if that was going to be, on release implemented into ClearlyDev, or if it's being spoken about at all, so that I can percentage sort of people into a product's earnings.
So that likely on release, you would likely have to handle that yourself, but that is a very, very good point. So that's looking into the staff accounts that will be looking to integrate for vendors to obviously add staff to their dashboards, with the possibility of being able to revenue stream your earnings to a separate Stripe account of theirs, etc. That is definitely on the cards. The main problem you have with that is when it comes down to splitting revenue from specific products. That's where it can become a little bit difficult, but not impossible. I will say that. Definitely not impossible.
It's good to hear that you're giving us this information, but then I also want hype. I want hype for this release. So I'm just super glad that you're at least sharing some information, at least giving the seller some clearance, because it's giving me clearance, it's giving other people clearance, but not only is it giving, the development team the sort of, thank God we've given this, and thank God people know, because it's not putting the stress on you to at least release it. People know this now. And
I was going to say definitely, and it's not just about hype. For us, especially for me, I don't want to promise something that I'm not yet able to deliver on. The main thing for you, for all of you in this case, is to know at least that it is on our mind and that it is being discussed in those specific incidents that I cannot confirm. I can at least tell you if we're considering it, and that's the important part in my eyes, that you know that you're being recognized, that you know that your needs and what you need from the platform is being noticed and is being discussed. And the ones that I can definitely tell you about are still incredibly exciting. We're so close. We're so very, very close, and I'm talking matter of days from when we record this to having the workable build. And from there, we're going to have, in the topic of hype, so many teasers, so many even videos where we can absolutely black and white outline everything that's on offer, everything that's coming in the next few weeks, because it doesn't just stop. It's not like we release V2 and then the ball stops. No, we have so many updates planned to bring to you an incredible system. I'm going to be working probably harder than I am now after V2, just getting that content out. So we're really looking forward to that, and there's so much to show you guys. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not even asking you to believe what I'm saying, because you will see it yourself. The proof will be in the pudding.
I always sort of say to people, like, people obviously get frustrated because V2 has taken so long to build. Lucian said it himself, there's been multiple iterations of it. But when you're releasing a big product, there is going to be multiple iterations of it. Obviously, there is some issues with, release dates, but like stated, we do not want to give you a product that isn't finished or is like half finished, We want to give you a fully fledged product. And yes, you're going to be frustrated, but I think what sort of happens is, obviously from the development team sort of thing, and from the ClearlyDev team sort of thing, we know what's going on behind the scenes, and we're just super excited to get out to the customer base and the consumer base. Whereas because we're preparing all these teasers for the consumer base, they're sort of, thinking they're being left behind when all they're really not. We're doing so much in terms of, obviously, like Lucas said, developing it. Lucian's doing so much in getting everything, from the legal side, from the operations side, working with different departments to get this product out. And, I'm hopefully going to be working more with the development team and the operations team to market this product, to showcase to all of the consumers out there. So people are really excited about this product, and I really do want that to continue too.
And I promise you as well, nobody, hand on heart, nobody is more frustrated with the fact that V2 is not already out than me. All I want is this product to be in your hands. I love V2 so much, and I know you guys will as well.
I mean, Lucas always messages me, you want me to do a speed test? I will do a speed test. You want me to search up something? Real recently, obviously Lucas told me about the withdrawal speed, and you said it was like 7 days or something from where the point of a person purchases the
We
product.
did a withdrawal test, and from the customer buying the product on the website, it took 7 days for us to have that money in your Stripe balance.
I mean, I use Stripe too, and Stripe does the weird thing of having to wait a week. There's probably some technical thing behind it. You'd know more than me, Lucas. But once you withdraw, or once you actually add enough money to the Stripe account and you get your account is familiar on Stripe, they do actually allow faster withdrawals. So it is definitely good that having this entire Stripe integration is indeed gonna make everything so much faster. And I actually saw, I don't know if Lucian wants to speak about this, there is an option for automatic withdrawals. So if a person obviously gets a load of products purchased, and then obviously that money goes to their ClearlyDev account, whether it be to be withdrawn or into the wallet, they can just set up a little thing that says, they can just flip a little switch that says automate withdrawals, and it doesn't even really go to their account. It just goes straight through to their Stripe or to our processing, and then straight to their Stripe account.
Correct. So that is what I was touching on before. Our automatic system is that we can send the money. So a customer makes a purchase, for example. Say I buy one of your lovely products, and you are away on holiday, and you don't really want to be logging into your ClearlyDev while you're away on holiday. Nice break from it all. You can set it up so that the money, after it's been processed, we won't add it to your wallet for you to withdraw. We'll just send it straight to your Stripe, and that is pretty much as clear cut as it can be.
For me, anyway, it is definitely going to be good. When people speak about just having to be hands free from everything, they don't even need to touch anything. Having that flexibility, to not even need to be there, and yet it's going to just completely do it all for you, is what I think is going to be the best thing. Because not only does it mean that they can focus on something else, whether it be for their store, whether it be for working on a product, it's just going to make their lives so much easier. And I think that's what's going to be the best way possible. And talking about making lives easier, a lot of people use other payment methods. So we've talked about PayPal, and we've already gone through PayPal. I want to know is currently our payment methods are MasterCard and Visa. I want to know if there's going to be any more added to that, whether it be Ideal, GiroCard. Those are just name a few that people use. Is there going to be more integration for Ideal and GiroCard the same way that MasterCard and Visa is?
Our checkout is somewhat limited by the payment options that Stripe offer us. So we're looking into potentially the likes of, and again, we're looking into it, Klarna and a few other different methods. And as we said before, PayPal is definitely on the cards. It's something we have to work with the Stripe processing for, because obviously, as we mentioned earlier, ClearlyDev doesn't hold or process your card details internally. It's all on the Stripe systems, so we're limited by what they're willing to process. But we are in better communication with Stripe than we were before, and are looking to expand what we can give you guys in terms of moving funds from you to the site, to purchase things, to get stuff down there. And as well, we'll definitely be looking into making gift cards a lot more commonplace as well, because that's only something we really trialed around the holiday times with V1, and that could be quite useful for the vendors. Nice little holiday gift or giveaways to communities, all that kind of stuff stimulates a lot of purchases having that system in place. So there's definitely some things we need to look into in terms of payment methods, but we will always accept the standards. We'll always accept your Visa. We'll always accept your MasterCard. And it's kind of irregardless of country. We accept all the accepted Stripe nations, which I don't think we have any users in the areas that Stripe rejects, so that shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, we're looking forward to expanding that. I can say on launch, you will definitely be able to pay with your card.
Yeah, it is. It is. Hopefully. I mean, for the bigger purchases especially, Klarna is going to be a massive, thing to see on our platform. It's never really used on other ones, I feel. So having this opportunity, I mean, I'm not quite sure you'd use it on like a £1 product, but having the availability to use it on bigger, sort of more higher priced products is especially what I really want to.
Well, the beautiful thing for vendors when it comes to Klarna and those kinds of systems, if we were to add it, is that it increases the volume of the sales. So if I was going to make a £15 purchase on your store, but I see some cool things, but I think, I've not really got the budget for that, but I know I'm spending it across 3 months per se, I might be more inclined to spend a little bit more on your store, if that makes sense. And that is where it's good, but it's something that we do really need to take time thinking about whether we want to introduce it, because especially while we kind of dominate the Roblox market, I know some of our sellers are, while all allowed to use the store, and some often use obviously through their parents, we don't want to be serving sort of contract agreements, debt agreements to anyone that shouldn't be looking at that kind of thing yet, if that makes sense. It's really important that the customer comes first, always with ClearlyDev, and we're never going to put forward a deal that would not be good for you as a company, because that would not be responsible as a developers in this instance.
A lot of it relies on you having the correct amount within your bank account, and obviously with interest adding on to the payment if you don't pay it, that is going to be a big issue like you stated. So yeah, I'm glad to see that there is some thought about that in there.
Well, it's as well, and obviously these platforms have their own identity checking to make sure you're over 18 and everything like that, but it's just about whether that's the ethos we put forward or not, and if we do, how we go about doing it in a way that protects those who shouldn't have access to that system. So that's why I think it's important to take longer to get those things right than it is to potentially rush into it, get it wrong, and have to deal with the fallout of that, have to deal with the retribution of that situation.
Like I said, it's good to see that you are thinking about that, because not only does it show that you are willing to put the customer first, which again creates a good thing for the company, because at the end of the day, this is a registered company. We do have people here that work and work and work. They want a really good platform to make. They want a really good consumer base, and even our sellers, they work on this platform. They rely on this platform as an extra source of income. So not only does it show that we are protecting the customers, but we're also protecting the creators too, because we want this to be a safe haven for their customers. Anyway, it has been obviously great to have you on our ClearlyCast, Lucas. I mean, this is a one of its kind right now on ClearlyCast, so I'm just extremely happy that, of course, you are on here. I hope everybody in the audience has had a great time and actually took in all of the knowledge, because not only has it been great knowledge to you, it's been great knowledge to me. So having you on here, Lucas, has definitely been beneficial. We are extremely excited to release this product, as well as Lucas, as well as Lucien, all the people behind the scenes are. Anyway, like I said, Lucas, it's been great to have you on. Obviously, I would love for you to come on in a couple of weeks' time when, a lot more of it, like I said, is finalised, and especially I think our creators would too. Talking about creators on our platform, there is over 13,000 of them, which on our V1 platform is quite good to know. Anyway, of course, if you want to see more of these episodes, make sure to hit subscribe and ding that little notification bell to know whenever we upload a new ClearlyCast again. Of course, not only it supports, it's this show too, so of course, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course like if you enjoyed this episode. If you have any more feedback, obviously leave it in the comments down below. I'm completely open to it. There was a bit last time, And, we've taken that feedback and we've implemented it into our show.
Or tag me in the Discord if you've got any questions, or shoot me an email, lucas@clearlydev.com. I'm always happy to talk to interested people.
Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this episode of ClearlyCast. Of course, this has been me, Reese, and this has been our beautiful CTO, Lucas. And of course, we'll see you on ClearlyCast in the next one. Goodbye.